welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and in this video, we are going to be jumping right into the finale for Dead Reckoning. We're going to pick it up exactly where we left it off in part number 3. So without further ado, let's begin with the AI's turn. Let's roll to see what the AI is going to do on its turn. We got ourselves a 16. Have we had 16 in the past? We have on turn 11. Rolling again, we land a 9. Looks like a 6 from this angle, but it is indeed a 9. And we have not, so we're going to go ahead and resolve this card. And we're currently on round 14. The first thing the AI is going to do is sail out from the harbor way up there, all the way to this empty sea space, as you can see on screen, to try and place 2 influence, which it cannot do. Next, the AI ship's going to move from this open sea space over to Skull Island, where it's going to take this advancement. So that last advancement here is now placed in the merchant pile. The next thing that's going to happen is an attack would if I had 3 or more damage on my ship, which I don't, so I avoid that. The next thing is the AI is going to place 2 influence on an area that has a coin or cargo on it. There is none on the map currently, so we can skip past that. It will also repair itself, but there's no damage currently. And the next thing it's going to do is use that merchant pile to check, and every 2 cards, it's going to gain a coin. So the AI is going to gain 3 coins because it has 7 merchant cards in its deck. For every 2, it gets a coin, as I mentioned. So these 3 are going to add to the 28 it has over here in coins, which is going to push it over the 30 mark for gaining the achievement way at the top. We'll talk about that right now. The achievement that it's gained is called the Capitalist Achievement. You'll see a banner in purple up there next to the 30 coins. The last thing on the AI card to resolve is if there's a merchant ship on an island, which there are 2 as you can see in this shot, the AI defeats it, and I can choose when there's multiple, and there's one at Fire Island and there's one at the Devil's Row. Well, the Devil's Row is closer to me. I'd rather keep that one there in case I want to go there, so I'll get rid of the one at Fire Island. And because it's a merchant ship, we have to flip a coin to determine how the interaction with the AI panned out. Let's go ahead. We got ourselves a heads. So when a heads is landed, as we've seen before, a cube goes on the legendary achievement. It is now 1 away from gaining an actual achievement there, which would be its second. With the merchant ship defeated, we're going to flip this thing over for the AI and take the icon on the back to determine which pile it goes into. It's going to be the pirate pile in this case. So I've gone ahead and replenished the board with advancements, and the really cool thing now that we're moving into my turn I want to talk about is the fact that I had to change my entire strategy as I went through this game. Initially, I was really hoping to kind of build up and go straight after the AI and just burn it into the sea, because that is one of the achievements. If you can sink the AI, that's an achievement. It seems like a really simple one, but in this case, you can see how your strategy needs to change because the AI ship continually was boosting itself. Now, in prior plays off camera, I had situations where I was able to go after that one a little bit earlier. So things are going to change. You're going to have to shift your priorities as to which achievements you're going to go after. And this one for me is a little bit more peaceful, as it seems like I'm closer to gaining my 4th achievement by actually building buildings. Currently on islands I control, I have 4 buildings. If I've counted correctly, I've got 2 up here at Trader's Rock, I have 1 over here at the Seahound Isle, and I have 1 at the Spire. So if I can create 1 more building, and I don't have the card in my hand to do so yet, but hoping to in the future, that will get me the 4th achievement, and it would have resulted in a totally different pan out than how it worked out when I played off camera, when I sunk the ship and was more aggressive. Just before my turn begins, I'm going to choose to upgrade my crew card level 2 up to a level 3. Out of my hand to start the turn, I'm going to put into play a crew card, bosun, and my other crew card. This one here is going to gain me 3 at my harbor. This one is another 1 at the harbor, another 1 at the harbor, 1 at my ship, and here I can choose, do I want to have an influence marker placed in the future, or do I want to gain something at the harbor right now? I can also use that influence marker right away, but you can see it's a red slash, so I have to decide which of the 2 I want to use. And again, I don't have to use all these icons right now. So I will be going ahead and cashing in for 3, 4, 5, and then 1 on the ship in terms of cargo. The other one I'll wait for. So now with the 1 cargo I already had at my harbor, 5 went in there. So now we have a total of 6. I already had a coin on my ship, but I added 1 cargo from one of my crew advancements, which was pretty cool, that you just saw. Deckhand's the next one I want to use. Again, I can choose to use it for 1 influence or 2 sails. I'll be putting into play, and I'll be likely using it to increase how far my ship can move. So at this point, I am going to set sail with the 2 sails on my deckhand plus the 2 sails on my ship because I am at an island I control. That's going to bump me all the way up to 4 sails, give me lots of movement options. Now I am at a place right now where I would love to grab this one. This one is an awesome card. I just don't have the actual cargo on board my ship, which I need to grab this one, but this is an incredible card with all kinds of icons on it I would have loved to have grabbed. So what we're going to do though is we could head over here to the Devil's Row, and if I didn't want to engage in a battle with the merchant ship, I could just trade the 1 cargo I have on it to obtain this one, and I would gain these 2 wheel icons, and those wheel icons are really handy for most of the cards in terms of boosting up what they can potentially do. So I could do that. I also could come to Devil's Row, which I'm thinking of doing, and actually pushing the influence side of things with the influence I have in order to take control of this island. Again, any of these islands I can take control of away from the AI is going to help me with the end game scoring. So I spent 1 movement, I moved to Devil's Row. I'm going to spend 1 cargo on my ship, which is the only way I can spend it, in order to go ahead and take this merchant ship, and I gain it as an advancement. So I'll put this sideways in my play area here. Later on we will add that in. The next thing that I want to do is I want to think about repairing my ship. I have a card in play, one of my crews, which I actually upgraded at the very beginning of this turn, which allows me to use 2 cargo from anywhere, as it has a question mark symbol next to the cargo, to actually remove a fire marker. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that because I don't want fire damage on my ship. Plus, this gives me the availability to potentially go after some merchant ships and take some on without worrying about being sunk. So as I mentioned, with this card in play, you can have 1 influence or 2 sails. I took it for the 2 sails, but I'm actually going to change my mind. And I know normally you cannot do this, but during this playthrough, I'm just going to switch it over because I don't need 4 sails. So I have 3 sails currently. I'm going to knock myself down by 2 to state that I never used this one in play for the 2 sails yet. I'm going to use it for its influence because that's what I wanted to do, is use the influence on this one as well as the influence I have on my bosun in order, instead of actually getting the cargo here, as you can see there's a red slash, in order to place 2 influence markers here at Devil's Row, which will be enough to take control back of the island. So I can remove 2 of the purple cubes here because there's no empty space to place my cubes in currently. Go ahead and place 2 yellow cubes, and now when I total things up in terms of who's got the most, I do currently. So I get to place a permanent marker or a permanent cube in this slot. I've refilled my advancements. No pirate mode for me. I'm going to lose the sail that I have left over, which is only just a single sail, and I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to sleeve my enhancements, or advancements I should say, and that's going to be one of the merchant ships that I was able to barter with and gain. So it's going to give me 2 wheels, and I'm going to place this on one of my cards. So my level 3 deckhand now has even more icons to make use of. I'll also let you know that I didn't use my captain card. That's still in my hand. These 4 cards, however, are going to go to the discard pile at this particular point. So we'll go ahead and remove them. And now we're going to draw up 4 new cards. We got the purser, which is good for producing things. That could help me with coins, actually, to get myself to 30. And a gunner. We're going to need to shuffle the other deck, draw 2 more cards. Next 2 cards off the top of the deck are another gunner and the bosun. Let's find out what the AI is going to do next. We got ourselves a 5. We've had that before. We'll roll again. We got ourselves a 12. Have we had a 12? We have not. And we're also on round 15. So the AI moved from Skull Island to Devil's Row, gobbled up an advancement there, went to the Cat's Claw, and took an advancement there. Both of them were in relation to the pirate pile, these 2 right here. So they're going to go right into the pirate pile, making this thing even more aggressive. So that is going to be not the final resting place of the AI, but the last place it will be taking things from. It will now be moved to its harbor. A battle would ensue if I had 3 fire markers or more. That we can skip. If there's any cargo or coins, it would try to place influence. There is none. The next thing it will do is it's going to go ahead and upgrade its ship. And as you can see, this will be its 4th upgrade. And when it puts its 4th upgrade on its ship, it immediately gains an achievement. And that achievement it has gained is called the Elite Vessel. So you can see right up there, there is a new achievement for the AI. So you can see quite quickly in this video, it's already gained 2 achievements. It's going at about a rate of 1 achievement per turn. Again, once you get to that very last row of the AI card, it really does start aggressively ramping up in terms of what it's it's trying to accomplish. And you'll also notice that over there on the legendary achievement, it only needs one more to gain an achievement there. So as much as it seemed like I was out in front and had this in the bag, things are getting really close, really quick. Next, the AI ship will try to repair itself. It has no damage, so skip past that, but now it's going to go ahead and gain coins for every 2 cards in the merchant pile. So I believe that hasn't changed. There should be 7 still. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so 3 more coins going into the purse of the AI, but again, it's already achieved the 30 coins. So at this point, it's just going into its victory points at the end of the game, which is going to make a big difference. Just before we move to my turn, I'm going to go ahead and level up my gunner, and I'm going to go from level 3 to 4 with the gunner. The first time I've moved any card in my hand to a level 4. It's worth noting there is an achievement, as I mentioned, way at the beginning of the playthrough. You can go after this one. If you get 3 level 4 cards, you gain that achievement. So this is another way I could have gone after a single achievement, but quite happy to gain additional battle ability here. We'll talk about that in a second. The AI already has a cube on the level 4 achievement. I'm going to go ahead and place my very first one here. Again, I need 2 more to gain it. I think this is my time to try and be aggressive here and take down a merchant ship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my captain card in play. This is mainly so I can use my battle ability later on. And I'm definitely going to be using my gunners. I have 2 of them. One is a level 3 and one is now a level 4. This is going to give me additional cannons, of course. Right now, I'll take the benefit of adding some of the cargo to my harbor as well. So I'll do this at the same time. I'll be placing 2 at the harbor. And then an additional 2 here when I use this level 4 gunner I just got. Plus I get the sail. Plus I have 2 cannons on this one now, and the ability during battles to drop 2 cubes. The new ability on the level 4 one here in small print says, remove one of your cubes to do 1 extra fire marker worth of damage and gain 2 coins to your ship. So that's a pretty cool one. Again, when you're placing or fighting a merchant, I should say, you're not going to place a fire marker, but that gold is going to be very useful, especially when I'm gunning to try to get 30. So now that we know we decided to go up against this merchant ship, I'm going to go ahead and take it. We're going to flip it over because we're not doing the 3 removal cargo from the ship to kind of interact with it nicely or trade with it. We're going to battle it. So flipping over to the opposite side, oh my goodness. So this thing right out of the gates here is a heavily armed merchant ship. Yikes. This is terrifying. As you can see, I'm going to gain 3 damage if I lose this battle. I really don't want that to happen. 6 black cubes are what this merchant ship will be using. This is going to be extremely aggressive. Yikes, this can actually backfire me big time. I didn't realize, and this is kind of part of the fun, you never really know how strong these ships are going to turn out. Sometimes they're weaker, sometimes they're like this. So 6 cubes for the AI, or I should say the merchant ship, which technically is an AI in some facets. What we need here now from my side is how many different cannons I have on my ship. I have 1 on my ship itself. I have another here, so 2, 3, 4, and then later on, after we do our first drop, I'm going to be able to go ahead and determine if I want to drop 2 cubes with this one, drop 2 cubes here, and drop 2 cubes. So in this battle, we have 6 black cubes going up against 4 black cubes. So this is going to be quite interesting. Of course, I've got a lot more to drop in later on. We'll see how the first round goes here. All right, so right out of the gates, actually things have, they've landed quite brutally for me. They've landed good in terms of trying to win the battle, which I guess is what I want, but the bad news is I've got a lot of black cubes in those fire marker areas, which is going to result currently in a total of 3 additional fire damage. And they also technically landed a critical hit here, which is also really bad. So we're simply going to go ahead and grab this one that landed in that area, add another one to it, and drop them back through. Now it's time for battle abilities. I'm definitely going to go ahead and place 2 cubes down for my gunner, hoping that this helps me out. All right, that bumps some things around, probably not in the best manner. And we've got 2 more cubes I'm going to drop in here. Oh, that really helped me out. And then 2 more cubes after that. Wow, now that was a crazy battle, all kinds of things here to resolve, but the first thing is with a merchant ship, they don't gain any cargo from any of the spaces like coins and cargo that could have landed in. So for instance, this black one here is going to be removed. This one here is also removed, and I don't believe there's anything else. This one's on an edge, but it's teetering into the damage area, so it will move into the damage area. I'll just make sure here, this one is mine. It's teetering into this area right here, so we've got 3 in the middle. We've got 2 in the crown area here, 3 in the crown area for me, which is nice. 1 fire in there. This one's teetering, but it definitely sits in this 2 crown area, which is quite bad for me. We've got one that's off camera here, way up at the top for me. It's a +1 coin, +1 cargo, and that kind of sets everything where it should be. I'll first go ahead and resolve all of the plunder. So from this spot right here, I'm gonna go ahead and gain 3 cargo to my ship. So I'll go ahead and place that 3 cargo like so. So I've got a whole bunch in here. This whole area is now completely full. I've also got this one, which is hiding back here. It's actually a coin and a cargo combined. So I'll take a cargo and I'll also take a coin. And we've got both of those in those positions like so. We have one in the middle here. I can choose which one I want. I want a coin because I'm kind of going after that 30 coin. Take this one out. We'll go ahead and resolve fire damage now, and you can see here that the AI is laughing at me as it hit me for 3 fire damage, which is quite insane, putting me literally on the breaking and bleeding edge of death in terms of my ship going under. I need 1 more to have my ship go down. Now, my 1 fire marker on a merchant ship doesn't mean anything. It's not going to help me in this regard. This would be useful when going up against the AI player. A nice roll, but doesn't work out for me. So what I've got here in total is a win. I won the battle, which saves me by the skin of my teeth, because as you noticed on this card when we flipped it over, the lose for the merchant was 3 more fire markers, which would have sunk my ship completely. Now, we'll be talking about something sinking soon, because now I'm a little terrified that my ship has 4 fire markers. The AI is probably going to be focused on trying to take me down, so don't worry, we'll probably see that happen. But I do technically win the battle, so let's go to that merchant card and find out what I win. So after that successful battle with a very heavily armed merchant ship, I was able to win. I'm going to gain 4 coins on my ship, and I get the advance below, which is pretty awesome. So the first thing I need to think about is what I've got on my ship, and I currently have 4 cargo. Actually, everything is filled up in terms of space, but I have 4 cargo and 3 coins. I have 3 coins. I need 3 more in addition to be able to take 6 total on my ship back to the harbor, drop it off in my treasure chest. That will give me 30. So what I'm going to do, being that I have a bunch of cargo on my ship, I can jettison things into the sea. So I'm going to actually jettison 3 cargo into the sea, even though that sounds like a bad idea. I want the coins more so. So the cargo is going to get thrown into the sea, and I'm going to grab 3 coins and place them in its place there. So now I've got a total of 6 on board plus 1 cargo. And just so you guys can see what I actually gain here from the advance, this one here has 2 cannons on it. It says Battle PvP. If you win, gain the advance at this location or adjacent. That's actually really, really powerful and very, very cool, because it's or adjacent or the location you're in. So if you're in a particular location, it's anything north, south, east, and west of you as well. You can pretty much choose. That is awesome, very powerful. Would have loved to have had that earlier on. And for winning that battle with the merchant ship, I gain a cube on the legendary achievement, working my way slowly to 4. So now I want to talk about something that's very important and something strategic you have to think about. You only have so many cubes in your supply, and when you go up and do a big battle like I just did near the end of the game, most of your cubes are caught up in tracking achievements, they're on influence on islands, or maybe they're in permanent influence slots. One thing to note is that if you run out of cubes in your supply and you want to use them, especially like I did as part of a battle where I had a number of cubes in hand, and I didn't have enough to actually pull off using the battle abilities that I wanted to do. I only had 1 cube left in my hand, so I needed to find 5 from elsewhere. I went ahead and removed 3 of my influence cubes from here, giving us a tie in this location currently, but that's because I believe I can get back there and take that back again soon. And then the Devil's Row here, I took 1 away because I still have full-on control here, and I'm not too scared on that one. And I took 1 from the Spire because it would have to go through my garrison anyway in order to take it down. So at the end of the day, you have to make strategic decisions as to how many cubes you want to pull off there in order to use in battles. I didn't have to take all of them, but I needed 3 sets of 2 in my mind to actually have a fighting chance of winning that battle and not having my ship get sunk, and I'm really glad that I did. So it does open me up to some tomfoolery from the AI in terms of them coming back, heading to those islands and trying to take them from me, but that's the balance of the game. You also have to remember that at the end of the game, actually controlling these islands will have some valuable points behind them, which will associate themselves with coins, so that's another thing you have to think about. It's a trade-off. And speaking speaking about influence, I'm going to go ahead and play my bosun, which will allow me to place an influence cube at a location I'm at. So I'm going to place it right in this blank space that I took away for the Devil's Row to keep my security of this location. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gain 1 cargo at my harbor. Now at this point, my ship is a burning inferno of fire, and I really need to get it back to the harbor so I don't lose my coins. And if I can get it back there, then I can actually drop them off my treasure chest. So as of right now, I'm starting off at the Devil's Row. I do actually have control of the island, and I have 1 sail here, actually 2 sails I should say, at this particular location, being that I can count both of them. Plus I have a sail on my gunner that I can make use of. So I'm going to be getting an allotment of 3 movement, which is more than enough to get me back to the harbor. I'll have to spend all 3 to do so, but I'm doing that right now. So my ship pulls into the harbor completely engulfed in flames, and from here I'm going to drop off my 6 coins, which will give me the 30 coin achievement. And that, my friends, is going to trigger the end of the game. Let's talk about triggering the end game here. Now let's talk about the AI actually triggering it instead of me first, because that is not what happened, and you probably want to know how that works. If an AI claims the 4th achievement, it's triggered the end of the game. You get 1 more turn. So I would get 1 more turn, and the normal last turn rules apply. And what that refers to is what is the normal last turn rules that you'll find in the rule book itself for regular competitive play. Now, if you gain the 4th achievement, being me in this case, which is exactly how this game ended out in solo mode, the AI takes 1 additional turn, and as normal, last turn rules apply, meaning you get +2 cubes in any battles, and the AI converts only 1 influence of your influence cubes for every 2 that it normally would. Here are the 4 cards that I pulled up for the end of my turn. I still have the purser in my hand, and I'm not upgrading anything currently. I'll wait to see what the AI does. Let's determine what the AI is going to do next. We're looking for only a couple numbers left. Oh, there we go. That's one of them, a 4. And we're on round 16. First thing the AI is going to try to do is go to Fire Island, but it already owns this location, so it won't be placing any influence here, and it also won't be gaining any advancement here, so we'll skip past that. As you can see the card on screen, the next thing it's going to do is head all the way down to Skull Island in the bottom left-hand corner. Now down here, it will go ahead and place 1 influence cube. As you remember from the rules that I just stated in terms of the last turn for the AI, it's only when it's converting one of my cubes that it has to pay 2 influence in order to do so. But if it's just freely dropping influence cubes in blank spaces, that is available, and it can do as it pleases like normal. So it's going to also take this right here, which is a battle ability. This will go in the pirate pile for itself. So now that has been resolved. The last place it's going to visit is the Cat's Claw, which is unfortunate for me. So it's going to land here, and when it does, it's going to also be resting here. This will be its final place for the turn. It's going to place 2 influence in 2 of the blank spaces, and at this point it has full control. So it now is going to gain a permanent cube here, and we'll go ahead and place a permanent cube like so. That breaks the tie for sure, from me at least, and it now has control back again. That's unfortunate for me. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't get there, but as you can see, because I took my influence cubes off of that in order to use them for the battle to help me with the merchant ship, the AI was sneaky enough to come back here and drop some cubes and steal control of this area from me. Now, I didn't technically have it anyway because we were tied with 1 and 1 permanent cube, but now it's got the advantage of actually controlling that island. Now the AI would look to see if there's any cargo or coins on any islands, and it would head there to place influence. There are none, so it will not do that. The next thing it's going to do is place a cube on the level 4 achievement. As you can see, I've placed a second level 4 marker there for the AI. 1 more place there, and it would have got the achievement there. One thing I want to correct that I just did moments ago is when I placed an influence marker here, I now actually have 4 versus the 3 blank spots, so the AI actually has control of Skull Island, which is huge for it because it has some big time points. And ironically, this is exactly what it's going to do next. It's going to go ahead and place a garrison at its highest value controlled island, which is this, which is kind of why I caught it. So it's going to go ahead and place a garrison like so. This is quite unfortunate for me. And then it's going to go ahead and produce at its highest available island in its control, which is definitely this one. It's going to give itself 2 coins and a cargo. And as you'll notice, there's 2 cargo that's been sitting next to the AI AI for the whole game, and it converts 3 to a 1 in terms of cargo to coins. So at this point, this is going to convert to a coin by trading it in, plus there's going to be 2 coins coming from this the production right here. So we go like this, and there's no other arrows pointing to it, so it doesn't gain anything else from any of the areas around it. But 3 is still pretty incredible for the AI. I don't like it. It's a lot of points it just gained. And now we move to end of game scoring. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the coins we have in our chest already. The AI here has a total of 37 coins and I have 31. So we're pretty close to start off this end game scoring. The first thing we'll do is check our achievements as we gain coins for achievements that we've completed. So moving left to right, we're gonna go ahead with the AI first and determine how many extra coins it gets for its achievements. So the 30 coin achievement is going to be 2 coins. The other achievement it has is for the builder in terms of the ship upgrades, and that is going to give a total of 6 coins. So 8 coins going to the AI. Now for me, I have 4 achievements. I get 5 coins for the one on the far left. Next up for the barrels, I get 2. After that, another 2, so I'm up to a total of 9. And the last achievement over there is 3, so a total of 12 coins coming my way. So after giving coins to the AI and myself, we have a total of 45 over here and 43 for me over here. Extremely close. The next thing we're going to do is check our coins in treasure chests. Of course, we already pulled those out, so you're already aware of how much we had there. Moving on to buildings, we're going to gain 1 for each building on islands we control. So as depicted on the islands just above where you build them, you get a coin, as I just mentioned. So 1 here for the AI for controlling this one and having a building, 1 for over here, and 1 for over here for a total of 3. For me, I have 2 buildings up here, 1 here, and 1 here for a total of 4. The next thing you're going to do for tallying points is look to see if any of your cards have something like this on them, because you can actually exchange things. In this case, if I had it on a card where I had this actually sitting to be sleeved on one of my cards, I could cash in 3 cargo to gain a coin. This would be super helpful at this point in the game, especially when I have a ton of cargo off screen at my harbor. I believe currently I have 11, which is pretty insane, but I don't have this card, or this advancement I should say, on any of my cards, so I'm not going to gain any benefit. I also went through my deck to ensure I don't have anything else that way as well. Next up, we look for ship upgrades, and currently on my ship, surprisingly during this playthrough, unlike the playthroughs I had prior to filming, I have no ship upgrades whatsoever. It was not a major focus point for me. The downside with not focusing on it is at the end of the game, you gain 1 gold for each basic ship upgrade, everyone that has one of the gray corners, and everyone that has a gold corner for an upgrade is considered an advanced ship upgrade, and you get 2 for that. And as you guys will remember, the AI did quite a good job in that regard. The AI is going to cash in for 2, 2, 2, and 1 for a total of 9 coins. So that certainly has bumped up the AI quite a bit in the lead now. Now we move on to the islands themselves, and players are going to score for their influence cubes on each island in these 3 different ways. The most cubes on an island gets the coins according to the largest of the numbers shown in the top right hand of the ocean board. So when you're taking a look at these ocean boards top right hand, you're looking at this very top number. So in this case, if I have the most, which I do in this case, I get 4. Second place gets 3, for instance. Now, if there is a tie, then all players move from that first position and you just ignore it. It goes down to the second position, so 3, and both players would gain 3 evenly. And you continue scoring in this fashion for any ties down the column. In this case, though, we only have 2 players playing, myself and the AI, so we'll never get to that 3rd place, as you can see on each of the islands, the 3rd position down. The next thing that's worth noting is that blank spaces are essentially another influence, or you can consider them almost like another player in play. So there might be times where another player has a tie with you. For instance, a great example would be this, and essentially that other player is being represented by the island itself. And so I have 2 cubes here, but overall there's 2 empty spaces, so actually there is a tie at this location that would force me from 3 down to 2. So let's go ahead and tally up the AI score on the islands. First place for Fire Island belongs to the AI, so 4 points right there. Nothing here at the Spire. Skull Island, it is in first place, so a 9, so that is a total of 13. Trader's Rock, it's in second place, so you drop down 1 position, so 3 onto the current 13 is going to be 16. Going down to Devil's Row, it'll drop to second position, so it's going to be 19 with 3 points. Here it has full control, so it gets 5, so it makes 24 points. Sea Hound Isle is in my control, but it's second place for 5. That's going to be 29 points. And then it has full control of Deep Reef Crag for 3. That'll be 32 points. So now it's time to tally up my score. The AI is at a total of 89 points to this point in the scoring. We're going to go ahead and find out what I get from the islands. So I have first place here, so 5. Second place here, so 3 is 8. First place is 11. Nothing here. 4 here, so it's going to give me 15. 3 here, so that's 18. Coming over here, first place, that's 6, so 24, and then nothing here. So 24 is my total. I didn't do as well as I originally thought with the islands. The final tally for the solo mode Dead Reckoning playthrough is 89 coins for the AI versus my 71. I did not successfully win this game, and you can see this is on normal difficulty, and there's awesome scaling involved in Dead Reckoning as well, where you can really ramp up the difficulty further down the line, and it can get really aggressive, which is great once you become accustomed to the ins and outs of the strategies in solo mode. You can continue to try and take on the AI, which will get progressively stronger with those heavier AI cards in play. Some of the areas that I was probably weak in and lost points, just as a recap, is likely around the ship's upgrades. I didn't have any, and that's where the AI opponent got a jump of 9 points on me, so that's about half of the distance of what we were between us. So that certainly would have helped me if I had focused on that. Also, it might have been to my benefit to focus on achievements that were of higher value. So as you can see, even though I raced to the end to get my 4th achievement, thinking that that would help me, it actually ended up hurting me. There are other achievements that are tougher to get that have a higher value. For instance, going ahead and upgrading your ship, ironically, is worth 6 if you happen to complete it, and that would have been something that would have actually boosted the amount of coins I would have had at the end of the game, rather than going for achievements that cash in for around 2 or 3. And that is going to conclude the playthrough for Dead Reckoning. I really hope this was helpful and helps you make an informed decision on the current Kickstarter, which is ongoing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.